This is the Hazardous Hooligan, and on this week's video, you might be noticing, where did my table go? And there's a good reason for that. Today, I have, some call it the Headless Horseman, but the official name is Knight Dullahan from Home Depot 2024. Let's get right into the video. I have everything laid out on the floor here, and you can see there is a lot of parts to him. He actually fits in the same bag a 12-foot skeleton fits in just because of how big this horse is. That's the main kind of attraction of him. And you can see here's his legs, his front and his back, the rib cage, the hips. That's actually the Knight Dullahan's feet here. Here's his boots, and they're nice hard plastic. Now there's the spine, that's a part of the spine. Here's the neck, and there's the tail, the head. It's a huge, huge guy here. Here's the axe for Dullahan. The head, which is actually a different sculpt than most of the other ultra posables, but they use the same body. He is missing two teeth, or one tooth, and he has two exaggerated, like kind of almost like vampire teeth at the bottom, and his eyes are bigger, and he has more of like a menacing like eyebrow shape. Here's his arms and legs. There's his back rib cage. These are actually the poles for his base in case you use him outside. And then this is the bag full of all his clothing. So, without further ado, let's get right into the setup. Now, the legs are probably one of the most difficult parts of this process, just because you have to line it up perfectly to actually slip it in, and there's some screws at the bottom you have to tighten, so it's all sturdy. So I put them in off camera, but I'll put on the hip piece right now. Let's see. And now all of these like bigger SVI props and animatronics are fairly difficult to put together just because they require more than one person on average to set up. And especially these blow molded pieces, just because they are meant to fit perfectly and to be really sturdy so they don't blow away and break in the wind. So, next piece is the kind of like spine or lower spine piece, and that actually goes on like this. So you slip that little notch, and this part actually does have a snap lock, which is kind of surprising because a lot of these don't. Let's see, you can kind of push that in. They do use stronger snap locks. They put stronger spring snap locks in there, so it's like, again, more sturdy. And here you can put on this tail, which just kind of slips right on in there. And it's really cool. Unfortunately, it isn't posable, but it does look really cool regardless. Next, we have to add on the rib cage piece. Now, this is the biggest piece of the assembly, and it is pretty hard to put on, but it's really light. It's just how big it is that really makes it difficult to kind of balance while setting it up. So you just really have to kind of hold it and then push it down just like that. Now, right here you can see a pole, and that pole is actually for all of the actual skeleton, also known as Dullahan, to sit on. And, his legs come over like he's actually riding the horse. And, here's where his front legs go. And what's pretty interesting about these is they actually kind of flop around, which I think it was intended for maybe there to be a motor in there, but they scrapped it for whatever reason. And, there's another one of these. I believe this is for the actual head of the horse, but I'm not 100% sure just yet. So now, the next piece is actually those legs in the front. Now, these actually do screw on, and I won't do those on camera, but I will put them in on camera. Let's see. There we go. And here's another one. Just like that. And I will screw them in off camera. I just put in these screws here, and it just makes it so they stay in there, and during his activation, they just don't fall out. which is a good thing. Now we have his neck. So you just want to move all the hair out of there first. And you can find where that goes. And then for at least this model, or this one I have, I can't put this wire anywhere just of how it's set up. I don't know if it's the length or whatever, but there is a kind of good way I found to hide it. Let's just get that in there. And all of these do screw in, so they are fully weatherproof. So I just kind of put it back here, and then I put the hair over it, just like that. Because mine, there's no way for me to actually push this down, because you're meant to put it down into there, but because of just how it is, I can't. I don't know why. Now, I will need to get a ladder for the head, so I'll go grab that off camera. So here we have the head, and it is a really cool sculpt. It's very detailed, and it has that hair in the back as well. The eyes light up here, but it's interesting because they're just the normal LEDs. They didn't put a diffuser on them like they have been in more recent years. And what you do is on the top of this, you just find that pole with your finger. You can kind of put that. There is a snap lock. Just like that. You might need to get a little bit higher like that. You can put that in and then connect that headpiece, which is right here. And I'm going to put this in the back just so you don't see it. Let's see. These are really good because they keep the water out very, very well. And I've always found that when we keep these outside, I don't think we've ever had like an electrical problem with these snap locks, or not the screw plugs. And, you know, it is a really good way of keeping the water out. After we finish the actual horse part, we have to put on the pants, which just go on and over this pole, just like that. And that just makes it so when we put on the torso, right here, when we put this on, we can easily just slip the pants on over this little hip loop here. And these torso right here, actually, we had to get a new one because the motor in the hand that holds the skull stopped working. And SVI sent us this torso in about 2 days, 2 to 3 days, and they have great and very quick shipping, which is really good, because in case you are doing it right before your hunt, you probably will get it in time. Next, we actually have to put on the jacket. Now, this is a really cool piece. I really like how it looks, and all of the clothing is waterproof, and it's not gonna really let water get on any of the pieces that it covers, which is really cool. Next, we have to do the arms, which I will do off camera just because I have to feed them through and it takes quite a while. Now, these arms are really cool and they give some good depth to the character. You know, they make him look kind of more beefier. And here I have his hands, which are fully plastic blow molded. You just kind of slip that one on. And this is the one that holds the reins of this guy. And then on the other side, you got the other arm. And because this is a new chest piece, we didn't bend this arm down, because in our old one we actually kind of bent the bracket up here down, so he's more so looking down at the people instead of looking straight on, because that was a big thing we thought would make him look just a little bit better. And people do actually kind of touch him up in certain places, like make him look more realistic, and I do want to do some of those on this guy at some point. Now, that's his upper half pretty much done. Now we got to put on his legs. Now, I'll start on this side, right here. And this is actually really cool. You have this piece, which kind of looks a little bit weird, but then when you put it through, you get it through this little piece right here. Let's see, they have this little elastic in there so it stays shut and you don't see into the leg. You'll notice that there is this big open hole and this side. And no, that's not just from it ripping. That's an intentional aspect of him, just to give him a little bit more realism. And then you hook this piece like that. And then with this little knee piece, you actually find where the second little hook is up in there, and you can actually put it in, let's see, just like that, and you hide this in this piece right here, and then the boot will go on the bottom like that, because there is another little hook down there. I can actually put the other leg on now, and then I'll put the two boots on. So now moving this ladder out of the way, you can do the same thing you did with the other side. And you can kind of move his pants down and then pull up, just so you can really get in there and get this up. You can pull this down. And it's good that this does have an elastic just in case there's wind and it blows the kind of fabric down here up, and it kind of makes it so you don't see any of the actual like insides of this animatronic, and it really just carries that realism to the next step. And you can kind of, you know, fix his pants just a little bit like that, and then now you can put on the boots. So this one can go right here like that, and then you have the other side that goes on right down here. Just like that. Bring that down, put this back in there. So the next part is putting all the accessories on. So first we have the belt. Now, that just simply goes on this part right here. See these little Velcro pieces, and you can just put that on the round. And before I put that piece on, I'll show you this axe here. Now this axe goes on that side, and just put that right here for now. And you Velcro this part right up there, so then you can put this axe and hang it right from this piece. And you can make this kind of go down further up there. So then it looks like the axe is kind of concealed under his jacket. And now, there's two other accessories that I will show, but I won't do it on camera because of the nature of how you put them on. Now, this is the bridle, and it goes on the horse's little top of his head, so it looks like he's steering the horse. Then here are the stirrups right here. Now these go around his feet, and it just adds a little bit more realism to the character. So I'll be back right after I do that. Now this animatronic was made by SVI, and they make some of my favorite consumer animatronics ever. I just love how all of them are blow molded for the most part, and it just makes it so much more durable. And everything that they make that is this size for the most part is also completely waterproof and weather resistant. And I think that makes such a better animatronic, because a lot of the people that get this stuff only do a yard display, and they don't want to have to take down all their stuff and put it back up every single night they do it. So having this option is really cool. But what's even cooler is some of the details on this guy. They really went all in with detailing this guy. As you can see, all of this horse is entirely detailed and painted. And if you go up, the hair looks really cool on the horse's neck and all of the head. And he actually uses a ultra posable skeleton body. And if you now were on him himself, you might be able to realize that this looks a lot like the Headless Horseman from like the Sleepy Hollow tales. But his name is Knight Dullahan, which comes from Irish folklore, where he's more of just like a robed skeleton. So I think it's pretty interesting that they chose to use Knight Dullahan instead of the Headless Horseman when they chose to make him look more like the kind of knight that the Headless Horseman is, which is kind of odd. But everything about this guy is really cool. And they did sculpt the head like pretty much customed for this character. You don't see that on the regular Ultra Posable. He kind of has more mean eyebrows and his bottom jaw's different. He has a missing tooth, as I said earlier. And on back to the horse, I do wish they did put kind of a motor in here, but I do understand that it might be difficult and it could be a little bit of a liability because this is just hard plastic. If you get hit by that, that's going to hurt. So that could be why they didn't do it, especially when it's at the height it is. Or it just could have been too heavy and the motor failed or something like that. But all in all, he is an awesome prop. And if you can get your hands on one, I totally suggest getting it. So let's get right into the demo.
Heed my call, mortal. The darkness has beckoned you. Let us begin the dance of death. The horseman rides, and your soul shall be my prize. Will you come willingly, or must I chase you down? It'll be marvelous for me either way. I seek vengeance for the ones who took my head and left me in that shallow grave. And revenge is a meal best served cold. I suggest you not stand in my way. Unless you would like to offer your head as a part of my collection. After all, this one isn't even mine. I am bound to this unhallowed place, forever adding souls and skulls to my collection, as my head was taken from me many moons ago. I haven't found the one that fits the same, but yours looks nice. How about you give me your fresh head to replace this old one I stole last night?
Now this guy is really cool. He was one of my favorites from last year, and just because of, we don't get too many of props and animatronics like this, and he's kind of more of a unique take on him, because normally with the Headless Horseman you either get like a hooded character that is just hooded, or you get like a hooded skeleton, or sometimes you just have the cloth that looks like this on just a body, and you don't really see that skeleton part that is such a huge part of that character. And I just love how he looks in this version, especially with the horse. This is not the first time they've used this horse model. They've had like I think 2 or 3 different versions of this same horse in different stances, and it's really good to see one that I actually thought of getting, because I never necessarily liked the horses. I do like them, but I never thought I would get them. But just because of the combination of these two, I think it's amazing. And if you can get him, I totally suggest it. And if you did enjoy this video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I really love reading them. And I'll see you in the next video.